If you've been following along, you know we've been using Notepad in the previous section. We're now using Notepad++. One of the nice things about Notepad++ is that it colors your tags so that you can see where the tags are. That can be really helpful as we go along. All right, just with that aside, let's go ahead and start a new site called Tortoise Meat. And I'm just going to type in some text. We know that an HTML document is just text-based. So this, if we save it as index.html, we should be able to then pull it back into our browser. Let's do that real quick. And you may see that we have a bit of an issue here, right? We had said that we were going to have these on separate lines, yet when we pull it into the browser, it appears that they've all been smushed together on a single line. So here we see another way in which HTML is not just a basic document. We don't have any markup here at all, that is, we haven't used any tags. So why is it that it's smushing things together? Well, HTML ignores whitespace. Okay? Whitespace is any space or any return key. So this thing in here and this thing here is completely ignored by HTML. That's because you're not supposed to use the HTML document to format your document. In fact, you're not supposed to use HTML to format your document at all. Instead, you're supposed to use it to mark up your content. And so we can tell them, for example, that this is a paragraph with the P tag, or that this is an address with the address tag, or that this is a heading of the top order with the H1 tag. So I've just done 3 new tags there, 3 new elements. H1 is for a heading, P is for a paragraph, and address, which is not used very frequently, is to list out an address. Let's see what happens when we save this and reload it in the browser. Refresh it. Now this is starting to look a little bit better, but you'll note that still, although it italicized the address, it still is smushing it all on one line. That's because although we've told it what it is, we actually do have something here that says we want to break this up on separate lines. So how do we do that? We use an unusual tag for us. It's called the break tag, BR, and we could just put it at the end of each of these lines to tell it to go to the next line. And why is this an unusual tag? Well, it's unusual for us so far because it's what's called a void tag. And what a void tag is a tag that closes itself. You'll note that there are no close tags, no /BRs on this. That's because how would you define the end of a break? The break is right there. It's right where you say break. We'll run into a number of these void tags as we go forward, void elements as we go forward, but this is the first one we're going to hit. So in this case, we have 4 new tags: the heading tag, the paragraph tag, the address tag, which again we don't use very often, and break tags. So let's save this, file, save, and we go back to the browser and we'll refresh, and there we go. Just a last note here that it doesn't matter where you put these things. I can now do this and have huge amounts of space here, and it doesn't have any effect at all. File, save. You'll see I just have a whole bunch of space here, and then finally the paragraph is closed. Even in this case, I've saved it. If I refresh it, it has absolutely no impact because, again, HTML ignores whitespace. So what that means is that you can lay out your HTML page in whatever way is easiest on the eyes, and we'll see why that's important later, but it won't have any effect on the way the page is actually displayed.